Okay, guys, hello, how are you? Everybody has coffee, I hope. Keep you awake. I'm honored to be here with all of you and with the speakers on the stage as well. They have such amazing things to share with us. And we made it, guys, right? We made it through COVID, we're here. So, round of applause to you guys. It's been a crazy year for all of us. Let's see. I think Mike did a great job. So I have been with Penrod Dental Care 22 years now. I've been in dentistry 30, so almost my whole life, right? As an assistant, a hygienist, as a consultant for some of you, but mostly working on businesses and growing businesses is my favorite part of dentistry, really. So our practice is in Rancho Santa Margarita. These are our amazing doctors. We have about 1,100 hygiene patients this month, thanks to ChrisAd. We were actually on a decline, so I'll give you some more information about that. We do about 500 a month in adjusted, I'd like to say adjusted because that's real numbers for us, adjusted production, 15 ops, 48 staff members, and a lot of crazy. 4 doctors, 1 oral surgeon comes on Saturdays. Just to get a poll of the audience, how many are new to ChrisAd right now? Raise your hands. Great. And how many hygienists are here? Okay, and assistants? Perfect. Anybody looking for a job? No, I'm just kidding. Kathleen's here, so if you want to write your number down and give it to Kathleen, we're just looking for staff. No, I'm just kidding. We'll talk about that as well. It's been a crazy year for all of us. Our whole mission statement is we just tell our patients what they need, but we stop and listen, and we give them what they want when they want it. So we do that with a whole lot of hygiene, and we just keep going. Dr. Penrod passed away in April, and these 2 incredible associates took over. So we're very honored that they're here with us today, and I'm really thankful that they kept me. So I'm very, very glad. So thank you to the 2 of them. So I have a quick question for you guys. How much do you think a hygiene visit is worth in my practice? $70. What was that? $59. Zero. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. The answer for us is $500. And I'm going to show you today how we can really look at these hygiene opportunities as a way to take better care of our practice, but also see them as opportunities. We understand, and you can see in this slide, that our production follows our hygiene. What does that mean? It means the more hygiene we add, the higher our production is. Everybody loves numbers, so in honor of Dr. Penrod, I had to put this slide in there. We want to talk about the restorative amount that comes out of your hygiene visit. The more exams, the more restorative, the healthier the patients, and the more productive the practice. When we see a patient, we're looking for how can we make them healthy. When we see about 7 exams per hour in our practice, we look at the average being, okay, there might be 3 healthy patients, 2 might need crowns, 2 might need fillings. This is where I come up with my $500 per patient for an exam opportunity, not the value of the hygiene cleaning. I could do it for 0 because I know I'm going to get $500 from every restorative opportunity that I see. I want to talk about exams for a minute. In our practice, it is the #1 most important thing that happens all day, every day. It's not worrying about yesterday. It's not worrying about tomorrow, because really all we have is our live patient. In fact, that's your best person to reappoint, to collect, and to schedule. When it comes to our exams, we know that if we're prepared and we have time, we're going to be able to get the $500 per hygiene visit. We do not discriminate when it comes to exams. What does that mean? We don't care if your insurance covers it. We actually don't care if your doctor tells me, I have to do a class 5 over here. That's great, except we just missed 4 exams at $500 each, and now that was $2,000 worth of opportunities, so we plan to schedule appropriately. One of my favorite things to do in the office is to answer the phone. I could do that all day, because every time the phone rings, it's an opportunity. On average, if I'm answering the phone 4, 5 times a day, I have calculated about a $6,000 that I'm putting on the schedule that week. $6,000. Why? Well, number one, because we answer the phone all day, every day, except lately, because we don't have any staff. Save that for later. But how soon can you come down is the question we ask our patients. I'm so sorry you're in pain. How soon can you come down? Because we're taking care of the patient. Even if we refer them out, they are so thankful that we are taking care of them. We're the heroes. We got them out of pain. And you do have time in your schedule. There's plenty of time for an assistant or a hygienist, if you get an opening, take an x-ray, and have that doctor just do a quick run-by. That is the value of answering the phone. That is the value of no fee for an exam to come into your practice. I was in an office in San Diego a couple years ago, and just shadowing and watching the practice. They were growing scratch practice. This little old man, he was so cute, he came in and he said, how much will it be for you to look at my tooth? And the receptionist said, oh, it's $89, sir. And he said, oh, okay, it's really hurting me. I need to check with my wife. And I reached over and I said, you know what? Why don't you come on back with me? We'll take a quick x-ray real quick and see how everything's looking. And he's like, wait, I thought it was $89. I said, today, there's no charge for you. And so in the back, the doctor, the owner, was like, what are you doing? We're going to lose money. I'm like, you don't have any patients. You don't have any money anyway. So we've got 8 people here. How about we see this one guy? No joke, he comes in, we take an x-ray, needs a root canal. And then there's the judgment, oh, he may not have money. Why we do wallet biopsies still blows my mind. But they said, you need a root canal. It's going to be $900. And he said, will it take care of the pain? And we said, sure. And he literally, I know this is not normal, but he literally pulled out the $900 in cash. Well, he had $1,000 in cash. So that doesn't always happen. We know that. But if we have that blockage of that $89, $59, $99, $29 exam, we're just tripping over pennies, right? And we're not taking the very best care of our patient. Isn't that why we're all here? I mean, we're all here for taking better care of our patients. The reason Penrod Dental grows is because we get the opportunity to see more patients, to serve more in our community. That's what motivates me, is my doctors are incredible, they're ethical, we don't play any games, probably why we have so many patients. But that is how we get the patients in the door, and that is how we take the very best care of them. All about the exams. So, just add hygiene. How many of you ever heard Chris say that? Anybody? We pay him $900 a month to come and say that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We pay them actually not enough for what they've done for us. But for the first few years when I worked with Chris I didn't understand what they were talking about. And as I've worked with some of you in the audience, it's that struggle. What do you mean by adding hygiene? We don't have enough money, and what if the 10 o'clock doesn't fill? And then how do we pay the other ones that are currently here, and all of these blockages and blockages and blockages. Just add hygiene. Let's talk about never saying that again. Let's talk about just add exams. Like I used to say to Dr. Penrod, so if I line up like 100 people outside the front door, would you do their exams for free? Well, yeah. Well, that's the same thing with adding hygiene. The best thing about the hygiene department is if you have good hygienists, and you're not hurting them, of course, and they're not overselling irrigation and whatever else is going on. I won't get started on that. Then they have this great experience. They're in your practice, and now they're ready to talk to the doctor, right? So adding hygiene is adding exams. I want you to take that home today. I want you to know that when you go back on Monday or Saturday, hopefully you're all working on Saturday. We are, for Dr. King. We need to add opportunities. We need to add hygiene. They come in through hygiene. They love your hygienist. They stay because of hygiene. And that is when we're going to sell the dentistry. Back to that exam story. I remember working in another office where they would say, well, we can't do that exam because it's not covered this time and they're a perio maintenance. I won't ask you to raise your hand on who skips those, but I don't think there's a study on how much they buy only on the exams that are covered every 6 months. For example, we do a lot of Prophy 2s. I hate those, I really do. But they're the second cleaning to try to avoid the scaling and root planing, and they're kind of the borderlines. No charge. That's like a magic appointment. I was in the office a couple nights, well, that's actually about a week ago, and this patient came in. He had his Prophy 2. Happy. I was happy he came back. And the hygienists that are awesome and incentivized to look for Invisalign. They don't do that creepy, like if you don't straighten your teeth, you're not going to be able to chew again. We don't do that. We do the, have you ever thought about, do these teeth bother you or whatever? They're very gentle, but they are incentivized. And the patient said, I've been thinking about doing my teeth. And lo and behold, 10 minutes later, we're scanning the patient, and we just got a $5,400 Invisalign case, or what do we do? Whatever they're called now. But the opportunity presented, not only did I not get covered for that exam, but I didn't even get covered for that cleaning. So that really was a zero. Back to whoever said that. That was a $0 event on my schedule that ended up being $5,400. So are you available, is what Dr. Penrod would always say. Are you available to be ready for these exams? Okay, I think we understand this is pretty simple. The more hygiene visits, the more exams you do, the more restorative opportunities that come from those. I have lots of stories to tell you, only because when I've been working with other practices, I've been learning so much stuff. And it's great to see blockages to share with you guys. One of my favorite doctors in LA, he's so funny, he's not here, but I said, I really need you to be there for those 7 o'clock exams. 7 o'clock exams, those people want to get in and out. We know that they're 7 a.m., sorry. They got to get to work. They usually have good insurance. They usually have more insurance in prime times. And what I found about the prime time hygiene visits is we remove that financial back and forth. Do you want a crown? And it's this much. And how about Tuesday? It's really about convenience for these guys. The 7 a.m.s and the 5, 6, and 7 p.m.s in our practice, to the blockage to scheduling is only in can they get in after work or school for their restorative. And I know that's not something we always do, but we try to have restorative and hygiene availability after hours, regular hours. So this doctor said, you don't want me to be fit? I work out at 7. so you're asking me to not be fit? Like literally, I thought he was kidding. And I thought, I want you to be fit, but I want you to be rich too. Like I need you to make money, right? That's why you hired me. So he would not come and do these exams. And I said, well, then don't do hygiene at 7. Put more in the evening. And so that just kind of blew his mind because he thought, why would I have hygienists that'll do exams. I'm like, hygienists don't do exams, right? So being available, the value of that exam has to be really protected all day, every day. And you guys probably know through ChrisAd how much these exams are worth, but the question is, how many are you skipping? So back to ChrisAd and what adding hygiene means. When do we add hygiene? Like tomorrow. Tomorrow's a good day to start adding because it is the best return on your investment. We've done it year over year over year. I didn't believe it in the beginning. I tell this story all the time, but one of the reps from years past, his name was Toby, and he'd sit in our office and he'd say, you need to add Saturdays. And I'd say, but my week isn't full. And I'm so embarrassed to say that now because that was my mentality. You know, how can I add Saturdays? Like, my week's not full yet. Well, if you want your week to be full, restorative-wise, you need to add Saturdays for hygiene. Saturdays are our busiest day in our practice. I'll show you a couple of those Saturdays in just a minute. Where do we add hygiene? Well, it's expensive to add hygiene, I know that. And I only add it in prime time. Like Mandy was saying earlier, I do that same thing on the phone. We just ask, hi, how are you? On the interviews, sorry. Would you like to work for our practice? Yes. Let me ask you a couple quick questions and I can tell you all about it. The best ones have already been on the website, so they already usually know. It's a pretty good practice. We have good patients, good reviews. But I'll say, we are here 7 to 7 on Saturdays. Do you have any problems working till 7 or 7:30 or Saturdays? Well, I have kids. And I'm like, I do not want you missing out with your kids. I don't think this is the best job for you. Because inevitably, like Dr. Bauer was just saying, oh, I can work till 7 because you're paying me a lot of money for about a week. And then I set up all the schedules, and they decide that they are going to now have to leave at 6 because they have to take care of their dog or their cat or their kid has soccer, and then I have to rearrange my whole schedule. And because of the staff shortage, our practice is shrinking into this 8 to 5 disaster. So we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Why do we add hygiene? To grow, to see more patients, to serve more patients, to have healthier people in the practice. How do we add it? There's a lot we could talk about on how we add it, but the easiest way, we did start with assisted hygiene, and that is the easiest no-brainer if you have a dedicated assistant, and if you've really trained that system. There's nothing worse than being in a practice where they were putting assisted hygiene, they had put assisted hygiene in, and I was watching the flow, and the patients were taking their bibs off and walking out because they had been waiting for that hygiene exam forever and ever and ever because they lost track of the patients. So remember, that was a complete loss for everyone. That was no exam for the patient. Patient was annoyed. Patient got forgotten. That was just terrible. So the value of that exam is so important. And then what am I going to do with all the exams when I have them? Well, we're going to make sure that you're protecting those exams so that you can be present and be available to give that patient the very best exam. Every time. Prophy 2, 6 weeks, 3 months, new patient, returning patient, toothache, check tooth. The girl we wear these earpieces, and she says the other day, oh, Larry doesn't need an exam because he was here yesterday. I don't care. It builds your practice. Your patients want to see you. Hey, Larry, how was your second cleaning? I'm glad you came in. Everything's feeling great. Hopefully you won't be here every day. No, I'm just kidding. You don't want to say these silly things, but those are opportunities. Build your practice. Your patients love you guys. That's why they're there. Don't miss those exams. Okay. Saturdays at Penrod Dental Care. I'm going to show you a couple things on this slide. In the middle, the teal is our oral surgeon. He comes in one Saturday a month. I love to have him every Saturday. Saturday's fantastic for oral surgery. Kathleen's the wizard at filling that schedule. And he works with one of our assistants. He brings his staff. You guys know how all that works. Specialty is something we have not done a good job adding, but we will be doing that very soon. So if there's any endodontists here, I'm just kidding. I got to stop looking for staff here. The two associates on the dark green and the yellow, those guys are there because those are the Saturday people that we accommodate because they were here the other Saturday and they can only do things on Saturdays. So we have our associates do one column, lots of fillings, crown here and there. No exams for those guys. So they cannot do exams when they're doing rubber dams and class 2s and clamps, and that's just not good for your patient, right? They're sitting there with a rubber dam, and all of a sudden, they've got 5 exams, and they're back in 30 minutes, and then you get a bad review, and the patient doesn't like you. We could talk for hours about just the finite details we put into our patient experience and our patient care and all of those little things that make patients return to our practice. On the far side, you see lots of colors. These are hygienists that do not have to work any Saturday unless they want to. The begging stopped when we went to time and a half. But I know that I can see all of these hygiene exams because I'm now, what you don't see here, is my exam doctor, who is not going to be doing anything but exams. We have lost money recently because we're trying to double dip. We're trying to give poor Dr. Ballard sure smiles and tons of things and 8 exams, and luckily she's incredible and can do all that, which is not normal for most doctors. But we also know there's a plateau there. We also know that as she's flying by, we didn't look at that night guard that was on there. We didn't look at that possible retainer check. We didn't look at that outstanding crown because we didn't make time. At $500 per exam, we need to make time. So anytime there's more than 4 hygienists in our practice, that doctor is now blocked. Do the associates love it? You're going to ask me that. They don't love it, but we usually throw them a crown, give them like a 2 or 3 hour window to do this crown, and they get a little bit of production out of it. They make up for it in their other days because the patients know them, the patients are happy, they have good exams, and they're not getting this drive-by. You guys have all heard of the drive-by. In these exams, we have a dedicated coordinator. Let me go back for just a minute. Saturdays, we do confirm early. We all have those automated reminders, but we do another personal phone call on Saturdays and text, usually by Tuesday. We also need to make sure that we have enough hygienists, which doesn't usually happen till Kathleen was on the phone yesterday, and we finally got another one for this Saturday. So they just slide in at the last minute, like, yeah, sure, I'll work. Great, could you told us that like 6 weeks ago so we could fill the whole schedule? But they work when they want, but we don't really have a shortage anymore because we've done the time and a half. In these exams, our coordinator will prepare to follow that doctor. Every single exam, she's there. She's following the doctor. If she has some time, she will actually review the chart real quick to see if there's outstanding treatment. And she's ready to make sure that she's available for these opportunities. She's not answering the phones. She's not worrying about Monday's insurance. She's not worrying about yesterday's collections. And your patients are going to get the very best care. They have a dedicated doctor and a dedicated coordinator. This overbook column, by the way, always overbook a column on Saturdays. when I used to do hygiene, and we would do the whole intraoral camera and outstanding or new treatment, and we would do all this great discussion, and I'd be like, cool, we're gonna get this crown today or get it scheduled. And I'd walk up front with my patient Bob, and I'd say, okay, Bob's coming up, we need to get a crown, and it was like Bermuda Triangle. I was like, is there anybody here? And then they would do this thing that would just drive me totally crazy, and they'd get the calculator out. And they'd, Bob's standing there, and he doesn't want a crown. Who wants to buy a crown? No one. And then we get the calculator out, and they're doing this figure, and then we used to do that weird whole paper long discussion about treatment plans. We had the bubble where we'd sit you down and give you coffee and talk about all that stuff. We got rid of that. The treatment was not getting sold. When the patient arrived with the need for an actual financial arrangement at the same time. So I finally told Dr. Penrod, I'm like, I'm just gonna have Kathleen in all my exams. And he's like, you can't just have Kathleen. I'm like, yes, I can, because she's the master, and I'm selling a lot of treatment here, and it's getting dropped into nowhere, and the handoff is broken, so for now, I'm just bringing Kathleen in here. I did not know that having Kathleen there, well, anybody needs to talk about closing cases, you should talk to Kathleen. But the patient now has an advocate. They were in that exam. They know what needs to be done. They know why it needs to be done. And they also know where the patient's at. Those are the three things that we ask the hygienist to find out. You doctors are very busy. If you don't have your hygienist looking at teeth, there's teeth in there besides gums. I'm not trying to be a turkey, but I have hygienists that doctor comes in and says, how's everything? Oh, great, little bit of gingivitis. We got a 5 millimeter that went to 4 on number 12. And doctor goes in and is like, great, did you know you had a broken tooth here? So embarrassing for the doctor, right? So the hygienists are asked to do a quick, healthy mouth assessment at the very beginning of that exam. After the x-rays are done, the exams come in early with the coordinator, and that allows your coordinator some time. How many coordinators would prefer to have a little more time to get the treatment plan ready before the patient flies up front? Raise your hands, high, high, high. Because these guys want to be successful too. They want the time to look into the 12 insurances and the 14 different deductibles, and this guy does that, and the missing tooth clause, and the stuff you guys know is amazing. I tried to learn all the insurance. I can't. There's so many different things up there. So thank you to all of you that know all of this stuff to help your doctors. We've simplified the treatment plans, and they're still very difficult for us because we want to get it right because we stand by our quotes. But to give your coordinators time to be able to welcome your patient brought our case acceptance to a whole new level. It was no longer this, hi, what was your name? Okay, great, and you needed what? Let me go ask the doctor what you needed. Oh, okay, does he not need it? Because I'm kind of in a hurry. Okay, yeah, I said you could wait on that. I gotta go to lunch. Right? I'm totally kidding. But these things happen because we're not prepared. So we can dump a ton of hygiene on here, but if we don't give our coordinators enough time to be successful and to be confident and to present this treatment, it doesn't matter how many exams or hygiene or whatever you put on. Now again, back to transparency, we're dealing with that same problem right now. We don't have enough front office people. Anybody looking? No, I'm just kidding. I will really stop doing that. But the value of a front office person that can talk to people is worth a lot of money, especially when we're putting all kinds of hygiene on here. So if we do an exam early, everyone is set up for success. Our doctor, our coordinator, our patient, our hygienist, and our practice. There's a question. That's a great question. The question was, if the is the hygienist putting the treatment in the treatment plan? Is that correct? During that exam? Yes and no. If you have a great hygienist that knows how to do that, and they're standing there, and they're available, and they can put in a 2 or 3 crown or a DO or whatever we need, great. If you have a coordinator in there, the coordinator will do it. When I was in hygiene, sometimes there wasn't a coordinator. We don't have time to get a coordinator in there, so I would put it in. But some of them don't know how to do it, or they don't want to do it. It would be ideal if everybody knew how to do it. So I really like what you're saying. And the hygienists know the treatment because they looked at the teeth, right? So they know exactly what needs to be done. To make it more efficient, the hygienist could do that. But our coordinator usually comes in right after the little handoff to the doctor from the hygienist. You know, Larry's here today. We've been watching number 3 for a while. I took a new intraoral picture. He said that he's feeling something a little bit when he bites down. Oh, by the way, he's going to Hawaii this week, right? So in that time, now my hygienist can exit. She's going to return because she's not done with the cleaning because we're doing these exams at about 20 after the hour. So the coordinator can put the treatment in or the hygienist. Question.
Are you doing assisted hygiene?
Sometimes yes, mostly no. Thank you for asking that.
And what is the ratio or the numbers of people? How many hygienists with assistants and coordinators? What's the numbers that work with that?
Great question. We have a superstar, our magic bullet, Kathleen, who does majority of the exams. So she will do most of these exams. The hygienists are booked at 1 hour per patient because we know that for our practice, when we're growing, we use assisted hygiene. When people walk in with the wrong days, we use assisted hygiene. When we have a full extra column and they show up, we use assisted hygiene. But for the most part, Kathleen will do most of these exams and then call for backup. So we have additional coordinators that will help out during that 7 or 8 exams per hour. You know, remember too, these exams are pretty quick. We know what we're looking for because our doctors have reviewed the x-rays. The hygienists have done a really good job in just preparing the doctor. Again, we wear the earpieces, so the hygienist will give a heads up. So the doctor can plan accordingly, like which exams are going to do at the end, which exams are going to do at the beginning, which ones may take more time. And you're not getting thousands of dollars out of each patient. We're kind of a crown of the year club kind of office. We don't go over insurance maxes. We don't sell massive cases. We want to build retention. And we know that if you stay in our practice long enough, you're going to have incredible care, incredible dentistry, and we're ultimately going to get all the treatment that you need over time if we don't mess up your insurance or mess up your appointment or hurt you. Those are like the top 3. Did that answer your question? What numbers were you looking for? I'm sorry. Oh, yes, yes. So if we have a hygienist seeing assisted hygiene patients, you will see 2 patients in an hour. That requires 1 assistant, but the coordinator is the same. So whether we do 4 exams or 8 exams, it's usually 1 to 2 coordinators during that time. But there is a dedicated assistant for every hygienist that's seeing 2 patients. On this day, we did 44 exams, early x-rays. Make sure you get the x-rays done early. Treatment coordinator follows the doctor, $500 per exam. We pay our hygienist $78 an hour on Saturdays. Cost me about $3,500 for that day in staff. I know there's other little fees in there. I'm just doing a basic here. But that's going to give me about $22,000 in restorative treatment coming out of those exams. If you have a Kathleen, she will pull out same-day treatment. This day we started at, I think, $21,000. I think she turned it into like $54,000, and I'm not exaggerating. So it's a little bit crazy here. We've learned with exams that if we have Our owner doctor, or our most efficient exam doctor, doing the most exams at the busiest times, we're going to have more case acceptance. We also know that associates in our practice don't do exams for about 3 months. Dr. Ballard is the master of exams, and Dr. King is our chief clinical officer, who's the master at all of the quality control. So when we're training associates, we really want them to feel like an owner doctor. So Dr. King's job is to mentor all of the clinical side. We literally make them do fillings till they're begging for crowns. Then we do crowns. Then from there, we let them do more things. Very slow deployment to make sure that the staff supports these doctors so that they will actually fill their schedules. Our staff's very protective of our patients, and if they get a few bad reviews because we've deployed them too quickly, then we have a hard time recovering. These exams are very important, and these doctors are mentored for a good 3 months by myself and Kathleen, and usually the 2 doctors. It's not a fun process for them, but they know we're here to make them money. It's a very interesting art to do exams, and to do them well, and to do them correctly. One of our most recent grads, well, she's been out 5 years, incredible doctor. She's phenomenal. And the other day I asked her, we need to work on the wrap-up, like the conclusion of your exam. And we all have that fear of rejection, right? Nobody likes to be like, need a crown, bye, right? That would be better. And sometimes that happens. Kathleen and I have to come in and finish the case because there are associates that have a hard time with rejection. But she told me something interesting the other day, and she said, well, I don't really want to come in and tell them things that they've been on watch for a while because I'm the new doctor. Okay, well, who's going to tell them then? So we're working with her very closely. Those things are very important to make sure that we don't just throw associates straight into exams. Okay, let's keep going here. I think we prove all this point here. Any questions on this slide at all? Okay, great. So we know that $78 is a lot for a hygienist on Saturdays, and we know 1 hour per patient can cost you a lot of money. But if I'm not skipping exams, and if I can get cases closed, and if I'm giving my coordinators time to present this treatment, then we don't mind paying that amount to get the $22,000 for that day. When I changed my rates to time and a half, we no longer had to beg hygienists. We still beg a few because this is coming up October 2nd. I just pulled this up the other day, and I think I'm violating HIPAA, so forgive me, but I didn't X out all the people's names. Same kind of example here. We don't have colors yet because I don't have hygienists committed yet. I don't love that, but I know eventually they will commit. So I'm hoping for 8 hygienists on Saturdays. I will book an entire extra column. Local med's great for that. When all my local med columns are blocked, all of my hygiene's blocked, and all of my additional phantoms are blocked right now. I'm doing a very bad job with capacity, and I'm thankful I'm still employed. So same thing's happening here. I'm going to have a ton of hygiene. I'm going to have an associate doctor on the left in the green, nowhere near my hygiene exams. I'm going to have a dedicated exam doctor, a dedicated treatment coordinator, 57 exams, 28,000. I think I counted on here 10 new patients. When I open local med and get the blocks out of there, what my team loves to do, I see about 6 or 7 new patients on Saturdays. How much did I get from each prophy? I don't even care, honestly. I'm not going to calculate $79 times how many ever. We do a ton of free cleanings in our practice. I could pay each hygienist $100 an hour, really. If you think about it, I won't. I'll probably get fired. I might be paying them that much soon if they don't come faster. Amount of my hygiene production, again, I know what it is. Do I care? Not really. I'm not trying to sell toothbrushes and other things, irrelevant. In fact, same with Justin. We took all the products out of our practice. We thought it was a convenience to have like Prevident and MI Paste, and the moms would call, why are you selling my kid $15 toothpaste? I don't want that. I'm like, would you like a cavity? So, and they thought we were selling them toothpaste, like, I'm not buying your toothpaste. And I'm like, we write prescriptions now, and they're happy as clams. I'm like, we just saved you a trip, but you're thinking we're upselling? So we just got rid of it. Back to this slide. Putting in pennies, guys, to get hygiene. With your ROI, I work with a doctor down in Newport, and I love him. And he'll fight me every day. But it's like $50 per hygiene visit, and I got 3 openings this week. How could I possibly add? No joke, he has no openings after 5 for like 3 months. Okay, where are the hygienists in the world? I don't know what happened to them. Do you guys? I'm guessing most of it is taking care of the kids. They had to kind of go back home, take care of the kids with school and COVID. But they haven't come back out, in my opinion. They're like hiding or something. So not having hygienists has been a real disaster for me. It's been a really interesting thing for me because we've been growing the practice for years, and we finally got to the point where we were excited to move to the next level. We added all these operatories, and guess what? Now I don't have staff. Who knew that was going to be our problem? We thought we'd get through the pandemic, life is good, and then the staff just disappeared. So I know we're all experiencing this staff shortage. The last 3 months, we've canceled 300 scheduled hygiene visits. Literally called them up and canceled them. I am so sorry we cannot see you this month. We would like to put you into another month and pray, literally pray, that a hygienist will come by then. There's a lot of verbiage that goes into that. And I started seeing this very terrible trend that my new patient numbers, capacity, we used to get secret shoppers A's and all kinds of stuff. We can get you in today, tonight, tomorrow, come on down, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Assisted hygiene is great for that. I can't get them in for 3 weeks, guys. I am not doing a good job. But I don't have any staff. But that's not something I can keep hiding behind anymore. We have 700 overdue patients every month. I looked yesterday, there's 2,800 active patients overdue for recall. I've shut down my recall coordinator. Luckily, she had a baby, so that's been helpful. She's been gone. I can't use her. I cannot use her. Associates are dropping the base because there's not enough hygiene. I had to get creative. So I called John Christensen, and I said, I'm going to get fired. Do you have a job for me? No, I'm just kidding. I can't do what the ChrisAg guys do. I've ridden along in the car with them for a couple days on end, meeting all these amazing clients, and that is a brutal job. So I'm so thankful we have them. They come in and motivate us every time. Like Mike's like, when are you going to add specialty? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I got to get back on that. So they have been so instrumental for us in growth. So John says, I'm going to send you over this postcard. You're going to love it. We're going to get hygienists in here. You're going to be the hero. So I was like, okay, great. So he sends it over. I'm like, oh my God. I got to call John. So I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, let me know when you have some time today. I'd like to talk to you about this postcard. Perfect. We mailed it Monday. I seriously had a small, minor heart attack. Because guys, I already have 12 hygienists, Okay, they make $52 an hour, and on the weekends, they make $78. So not only am I going to lose all of them, but now I'm going to pay $150 an hour and $10,000 in a signing bonus. And again, not have a job. But we've been looking, somebody said this the other day. I forgot who said this. But they said, you're putting your stuff on Indeed where people are not answering and they don't want to do that. Why do you keep doing that? Definition of insanity. I don't know. I don't know anything else to do. Indeed and Craigslist and back and forth and change the ads and up the rate and add fun terms and Google how to get people. You know, I've been hiring for 20 years. It's never been this issue. So I figured this is going to bankrupt us, but I might be fired already. And I thought, well, you know what? I've trusted John for all of these years. I'm going to send this postcard. Well, I didn't have a choice. It was already sent. So immediately, I needed to retain my staff, okay? In order to do so, I sent an email and I said, anybody that wants to work any other shift other than your own with a prime time hour, I will pay you time and a half. In 24 hours, oh, mind you, for 6 weeks, we've been sending emails. Can you please help us? We'll buy you lunch. We'll wash your car. We'll get you a massage, whatever you need. $500 per exam. I could get them a lot of massages. No, I'm good. I don't need to work anymore. I want to be them. I am one of them, and they don't work as much as I do, and I think I got this wrong. They don't want to work anymore. So in the 24 hours from when I sent the email, I added 192 hygiene visits in 1 month. 192 visits just by going to time and a half. I can do this because I'm losing hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month because I don't have capacity. Do the math. 300 hygiene visits per month that I canceled over 3 months times $500. I can pay a hygienist more. So I sent the email out. We did the extra shifts. We went to the 52 an hour to 78. I kept my team. I added 192. Here we are. Cost me about $5,000. I looked at that. But I gained $96,000 in potential restorative opportunities. I know all of these great mathematicians are like, but there's these variable costs and all this stuff. I know that. There's no variable costs in the 300 hygiene patients I'm losing every month. So in this, you guys want to know, like, did you add $10,000? You want to know the truth behind here. In the postcard, it dropped Monday. 7 days, I had 25 calls. I had quality candidates finally. I hired 3. I've actually hired 4. I added another 240 visits for that month in 7 days. Trained them all on a Saturday for 8 hours. Bought them lunch. They have a very extensive training in our practice. It cost me an additional $7,000, but I gained $120,000. Okay? So overall, there we are. 12,000 roughly. 432 visits, about $500 per exam, $216,000 of most likely potential or closed revenue for that event. So I should be sending John money. So the other thing I then did after this happened is I told my doctors about it. They didn't know I did this, and that was another lovely risk. But I figured I'm going to get fired anyway if I don't add more hygiene, so I'm going to take this leap of faith. And we kept the staff. I only had to pay 1 signing bonus. These girls were just happy to have anything more than 50. I have one at 70, I have one at 72, and my doctors are here, so I won't tell you what one of the other one is making. But anyway, she committed to 4 days, late hours. She's amazing. The quality of candidates was a huge byproduct for me. I had no idea that I was going to get a superstar that barely needed any training, all 3 of them, and they can talk about treatment. So to me, the value was there. I'll let you know next year if it worked. No, I'm just kidding. So our exams, we have a few minutes. I know everybody's hungry, so I want to go through this real quick. If we're not proportionately adding staff to support exams, it's not worth adding hygiene. When we add exams, we block our doctors. Our exams are very conservative. Lots of base hits. Building retention is what we do. We were talking about it earlier when we hire people. The only thing you can do wrong in this practice is have your patient leave upset. So you can do whatever it takes to make sure that patient leaves happy. Happy patients refer people, refer families, and stay in your practice. Every patient complaint comes to me, and I'm on the phone with them within 60 minutes. I think I've only lost 3 in the last year. We only have about 4 or 5 complaints a month, and they usually have to do with, you moved my appointment again, and Susie had the wrong hygienist, and she doesn't like her, and these strange things, guys, that people are leaving your practice for that will never tell you. So my team is very aware that I take every single minute complaint from a staff member or from a patient very seriously. I text a hygienist while I was here. Hey, I heard you had a rough day. We're going to get you lunch. They're ordering it now. Thanks for hanging in there today. You've got to be mindful of investing in your team, and it's little tiny things that make them feel like you care. Amazing hygienists, looking at teeth, coordinators that follow doctors, and being able to be laser focused on your exams. I think you guys have seen Pearl in the back. What is Pearl? I've been consulting with Pearl for a couple months, and I want to share this with you guys. They use AI technology to find the dental pathologies that are occurring every day, all day on our patients. The most amazing thing is it marries it with your practice management system and surfaces all unmet, unscheduled, undiagnosed treatment needs in a color-coded version of your schedule. Why do I love this? I'm going to use this for my associates. I'm going to work with doctors to calibrate exams. And I'm going to let my 2 owner doctors get out of the chair very soon. This will help them keep an eye on the practice. If you guys have any questions about this company, I don't support or consult for a lot of people, but this company is by far the most impactful tool you can add to your practice. I don't make money if you sell it or not. I mean, if you buy it or not. It is so crucial for you to see the amount of misdiagnosed, undiagnosed treatment that's happening and the amazing laser-focused exams you can have when you're using this product. The other nice thing is it brings the entire team together. And for front office, you no longer have to do CSI searches for all of your outstanding treatment, overdue treatment, last visit. It's all going to be there for you. So you could technically just pull this up in your morning huddle, and it will show your doctors all the areas they need to use for those exams. The clinical care is improving. The confidence in new doctors is improving. I personally ran the ROI that you're seeing on one of those forms because I didn't believe that they were presenting this much treatment, and it was actionable, sellable items that practices have missed. I've tracked disease progression where it went from this little tiny recurrent area all the way through to they missed it, they missed it, they missed it. Crown broke off, patient has no tooth. Now they need what, an implant? So anyway, if you have interest in AI, I think it's going to be the future. They're in the back. Today, the co-founder flew out as well to talk to you guys, and so they are available. The other last thing I will say about Pearl is they have an incredible recall system that gives you all of these really quick missed opportunities in a small little section, and it lays all the AI detections over those patients. So you can filter through those and make sure you're taking the very best care of your patients.
Hey, Sheila, we got a question over here.
Question?
How much did it increase your exam production?
Pearl? Yeah. We have not put Pearl in our office yet. So we are looking forward to doing that very soon.
How about other doctors you've consulted with?
$3,000 per week, on average, single doctor provider, one hygienist. And we're talking, again, picky, conservative coordinator looking at, could I talk to this patient about this treatment? There's office workflows that are so busy that the treatment might be diagnosed, but it never ended up in the practice management system. The other amazing thing that I'm excited about is, and I don't want to keep plugging Pearl here, but the amazing funnels that they have gives you your specialty before you even think about adding it. So for example, there's an impaction funnel, and it just puts all of your oral surgery patients into one lovely list. Instead, like right now, we were searching for, hey guys, oral surgeon's coming in on Saturday, so if anybody has oral surgery panos, let us know. And that's how we fill it. Well, now you have impaction funnels, you have SRP funnels, you have restorative funnels, and it gives the doctors a lot more confidence, especially the new doctors. Brings the whole team together, guys. So I would take a peek at Pearl when you get a minute. They're here the rest of the day today. But I was surprised to see that amount of money. That's before you even add specialty. At specialty, it was about $8,000 a week. So the last thing I will end with is adding exams. It's scary to add hygiene, but if you see the value of the exam, then you understand how to take that leap of faith. I think the easiest way is through assisted hygiene, so you can mitigate costs in the beginning, but only put them in the evenings. In my practice, we do feel like the 7 a.m.s have become not as exciting as the 7 p.m.s. If I had it my way, we would go till 9 p.m. First, I have to find regular staff, and then I will probably be paying my current and new staff more money in that prime time. Thank you guys for having me. And if there's any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to answer those, or we can go to lunch.